builders making moves, the projects shaping the culture, the unfiltered thinking behind it all. This is Let's Ride, the weekly podcast from BMX that takes you inside the on-chain world. Welcome to the ride.
Hello, everybody. GM, and welcome to the Let's Ride live stream. Today we have Hugo from GBM Auctions. Very excited. If you guys have been paying attention to the timeline, I have been sharing about this nonstop. The past 24 hours has been absolutely incredible for GBM Auctions. They are doing their initial distribution auction this week. They've kicked it off. It's been a huge success the past 24 hours. So we're going to dive all into their on-chain win-win auction model. Before we dive in, though, I want to pass it off to my co-host, Deez, to do a quick disclaimer.
Yeah, super excited today as we have action as we speak on the podcast. So the timing couldn't be better. And especially today of all days, whatever you see or hear today is not financial advice. There will be some live stuff that you'll see, but we are continuing to stay in the educational zone here. Please do your own research before interacting with any of the things you hear and see about today. Nothing is construed as financial advice. And on the BMX side, Deli Swap has been live now. It is cooking. Obviously, there's been some crazy volatility in markets. But LPs that have been paired with WBLT have experienced a less of a drawdown, and while capturing the fees of that volatility, as WBLT is Bitcoin, ETH, and USDC. So compared to pairing with coins such as Ethereum, it's a hybrid vault, and we're continuing to show that off on Deli Swap. So please go check that out, learn about the sandwich that we've created and what that does for LPs. But let's get into it. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We've got a live fish on the hook. It is swimming. There are things happening in the GBM world, and excited to dig in.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to give Hugo and the GBM team flowers. You know, I've had the pleasure of working with them over the past several months, supporting them and their initiatives coming onto base. And I just have to say, this is what a successful launch looks like. This is what doing the right thing looks like, moving in a way that incentivizes the community and creates a positive flywheel. So I'm very excited about this. And yeah, Hugo, just wanted to give you your flowers before we start. You guys, Hugo's a legend. So Hugo, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, sharing your name, your role at GBM, and a quick fun fact about you.
For sure. Well, first off, super happy to be here and with you, Rachel and Deez, and back at you, Rachel. You've been so great helping us get the word out over these last few months, and many thanks for that. But yeah, I'm Hugo, CEO, co-founder of GBM Auctions. I've been in crypto for over a decade now. Seen many a thing come to pass, many a cycle.
It's like I've seen some things.
yeah, as I'm sure many people have who've been here that long. It's just really awesome to be here. I guess one fun fact: I was at the very first Ethereum meetup in London, very long time ago. I guess that's a fun fact. Cool to still be here and building in the space ever since.
Yeah, so you guys, this is what a long-term, decade-long builder in the space looks like. And I think it shows once you have that level of that tenure under your belt, like you kind of know what to do, what not to do. And I think where you guys have landed with this GBM IDA, it's just where the markets are at and how well you guys are doing. It's very exciting to see, basically. It's reinvigorated my excitement during this time. So, okay, I really want to dive into here today. For those who are just learning about GBM for the first time, what is GBM and what the heck is an IDA?
GBM is an auction system that is turning into an auction protocol, and our IDA is a part of that process. But in short, the GBM system is a new kind of auction system where in our auctions that we power, you either make money when you get outbid or you win what's on sale if you don't get outbid. And so auction participants get rewarded in real time on chain for helping to discover the value of what's being sold. And this is really exciting because it incentivizes participation and pushes price discovery to find a true market maximum as quickly as possible. And so you create some really interesting market dynamics as a result. You create better outcomes for sellers. You create a way better, more engaging, fun, and fairer experience for bidders. And overall, it's just a better way to do price discovery. And so at the heart of what we do, that's at the heart of it, is that auction model that we created, actually created it back in 2018, 2019, and then have been honing it in various different ways, sort of ever since, in various different verticals. But that's sort of what GBM is at the core. And initially, we've been licensing out this tech to a lot of other Web3 NFT players. Sandbox, Decentraland, Unstoppable Domains, ENS Vision. These are all people that we've been working with over the years. And we're now taking that technology that we built for them and their assets and turning it into an open, accessible protocol where anybody can come and deploy their own auction house using our tech on the EVM network networks that we support. And so we're kind of morphing from this B2B business to this more kind of like Shopify for auction houses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. And, you talk about some of the projects that you've worked with, you're talking about Sandbox, Unstoppable Domains, Avagachi, we've seen you collaborate with. These are some really heavy hitters, some big projects. And a little fun fact, Hugo, I don't think I've told you this. Sandy Carter from Unstoppable Domains, that was actually my first podcast, first ever time like getting in front of the camera, doing stuff like this. First interview ever was Sandy Carter, I just realized. So thank you, Sandy out there, who's really was at the beginning of that journey. And maybe we can touch at the end of this about our the end of the launch party happening. We can share at the end of the stream to kind of tee up what we have coming up as well. But real quick, I do want to talk about the origin story of GBM, like what problem you're aiming to solve, and then maybe we can get into the IDA and do a little demo here.
Yeah, so the origin story is an interesting one. It's one of those kind of organic journeys. So when my two co-founders and I decided to start building in this space full time in 2017, 2018, NFTs were just coming to the fore. I mean, it was like 20 of us in a Discord, and we were trading $2,000 worth of NFTs a month kind of thing. And we wanted to be a part of what we saw as the future of basically bringing every non-fungible asset on chain. And the sort of the beginning process of that was in these moments of people playing with art and playing with collectibles and these kinds of things. And we went about it first off by creating an NFT project, which was called Cryptograph, where we got famous people from around the world and famous crypto pioneers to create art. And we sold these digitally native pieces of art and raised money for charity. And in the process of doing that, we started playing around with the idea of how do we discover the value for these assets, right? Vitalik's first ever NFT is a cryptograph. How do we discover the value of this thing? And so we started looking at on-chain auction systems because we were like, well, we can't price them. We have to ask the market. Let's use an auction. And we found a lot of problems with the existing on-chain auction systems at the time. They were quite easy to front run. There was other sorts of manipulations that could be done. They were quite expensive to do on-chain at the time. And UX was pretty clunky. And so we were sort of playing around with what you can do with blockchain technology and smart contracts. And we were like, hang on a minute, we could build a much better auction system using this technology that incentivizes participation and rewards everyone involved. And that's when GBM was born. And then after Cryptograph, we set about building an NFT marketplace was our next project. We spent a year building that. It was called mynft.com. And the idea was it was going to be a place where you could buy and sell any NFT cross-chain using the auction system. That took a lot more time and a lot more, it was a lot more costly than we planned. And as we were launching it, the market went from 20 billion a month in volume to 2 billion a month in volume, and is now around a few hundred million. So timing was not on our side that time, but we regrouped and realized, refocused around what was the real bit of value that we created, which was the GBM system. And for the last couple of years, we've been licensing that out to all the people we've just discussed and pivoted the business around that. And now we're at the next stage of opening this up and turning it into a protocol now that we found product market fit for what it does.
That's a beautiful story. I feel like, sharing the story of my NFT, it kind of shows like you've learned lessons from launching at a time that wasn't ideal. And now, with the market where with where it's at. I feel like you have shown that you can successfully do something, a big activation, an IDA token launch during this time, and still have success. And I want to hear more about those lessons. Like what can you take away as a founder, like with the challenges you've learned in the past? How has that helped you to be more well equipped with what you're doing now with this IDA?
Yeah, I think one big lesson is you can't control the market and you can't control timing. However much as an entrepreneur you want to be able to try and control everything, there's a lot of things you simply can't. And I think, there's value in just believing in what you've built and putting it out there and doing it. Whether it's Bitcoin at an all-time high or Bitcoin at an all-time low, if you've created something that actually has value and adds value and is innovative, then it doesn't matter when you launch. Just do it. If you've created something perhaps that is a little bit more speculatively based, then timing does matter and you're sort of at the behest of the market. But I've learned from as you say, past time that when you've got something that is really great, you just put it out there.
I love that. And you have me reflecting, Hugo. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about conviction too. And I feel like things align when you have absolute conviction in yourself and what you're building, your team and your project. And I've always felt that from the GBM team. Every conversation I've had with you guys, you're excited. You have full belief, like, okay, this is what we're doing, and we know this is good. This is something that's going to be good for people and create like a positive sum game for individuals. And I feel like our space has been so hungry for that,
Yeah. And that's a big part of what drives us to do what we do is that, crypto doesn't have to be wholly extractive. It can be positive sum and it can be, very empowering if you utilize the technology in the right way. And we really believe that we're doing that with
I feel
GBM.
like Dee's probably has a lot to say there. I feel like that's
Yeah.
I'm nodding. I'm nodding.
I see Beethoven nodding.
Yeah, I guess to riff on that, how did your team, I mean, we had such a bond curve mania, right? Can you share of any like personal stories from internally? How did your team react to that? Was there kind of a storm that came through and you guys like, you know what, we're not going to bend the knee here. We think our model's great. Let's just keep chugging along, because I think so many of us that are building foundational products that aren't attached to like in short-term incentives or something that doesn't necessarily make sense over a long-term behaviorally and tokenomic side. Did you guys have a rally cry internally, or how did that go, or how have you confronted the bond curve? Is that your arch nemesis right now? I mean, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, no. I guess it's one of the other sort of primitives out there that's a potential competitor. But yeah, for us, it wasn't necessarily about avoid. I mean, one was at the time we were still trying to hone product market fit for what we were building, and we wanted to get that up and running before we even thought about a token. And then even when we thought about a token, it was like, well, do we need one? Would it help with growth? Would it help with the right incentives? Would it help with making this technology more ubiquitous in the world? And if all of those things were ticked, then we would move to that stage. So I guess when the bonding curve mania happened, we were still focusing on the product. But yeah, I think when you look at Dutch auctions, the new continuous clearing auctions, Coinbase launchpads filling from the bottom, all the other different models out there. One, I think it's awesome that we're experimenting with all of these models, and we should be doing as much of this as possible, because any new primitive in crypto world is exciting and a great thing to do. I do think some are better than others, but I think it's a really important thing that we do those experiments. And yeah, I think bonding curves, they lead to interesting outcomes. They lead to sniping. They lead to a lot of sort of price pressure at the end. There's also pluses, right? I mean, I would say a bonding curve is a hell of a lot better than a sort of wet finger off-chain pricing of a fixed price sale back in 2017. But I think that we can do better and better. And the IDA is one of those things that may not necessarily replace existing systems, but is there as another option that fits maybe a project looking to do something slightly differently, or very community orientated perhaps. I mean, I think the IDA system could be used in for a whole variety of different ways. And I think one of the other things about the IDA system that I really like is that, coming from an NFT background in this space, it's quite nice to be able to combine the ERC20 and the ERC721 into a single kind of format and add a bit more fun to a sale. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the fun element is really baked into this. Like, one of the first things I thought of when talking to Jake, when talking to you, was, oh my God, everybody can get together and like people are outbidding each other, and there's kind of like this fun social element to it too, and there's art involved. It's like, yeah, you've kind of combined multiple different layers to this that I think work very well. And if you're able to, Hugo, before we dive into the demo here, would you mind just in plain English explaining the win-win mechanic of GBM? You bid, you win, you get the asset, you're outbid, you get rewarded. Can you kind of break that down for people?
Yeah, so in every GBM auction, whether it's an IDA or an NFT auction, there's a maximum return you can make and a minimum step increase for every new bid. The maximum return you make is set by the seller or the issuer. The most widely used preset that we've had today across our auctions is the 10% return. So the one that most clients use, so we've done over 80,000 auctions and most of them use this 10% return function, where the maximum you can make is 10% of your bid back in return. And the amount you make depends on how much you've outbid the previous bid by. So you get rewarded more for contributing to price discovery more. So if D's bid 100 and I bid 200, I've doubled Deez's bid, which is a big step in discovery. So when I get outbid, I'll make the full 10%. But if Deez bid 100 and I only bid 110, when I get outbid, because I only increased the price by say 10%, I would only make $1 on that, for example. So the game theory sort of behind it incentivizes people to try and find the truest market value for this asset as quickly as possible. I mean, that's the sort of game theoretical side of it. But yeah, in short, that's what the GBM system is and how the return functions work across any.
Awesome. And I do want to go through and share the examples of different use cases for this, but I think the best way to explain this is to show it, right? Maybe we show really quick the GBM IDA. If you've been following along on my timeline, you guys have shared this pretty much every day of the past week. So yeah, you guys can go, if you want to follow along with us, ida.gbm.auction. And Hugo, do you want to give us the grand tour here?
For sure. So yeah, this is our IDA.
Oh, this is new. Wait, this is a new one.
Interface. Yeah. So we hit wave 1 literally like 30 minutes before this started, an hour before this started.
Congratulations. Wave 1 is in the bag.
Cool. And yeah, and obviously when wave 2 came on, the big 5 million surprise bundle came to play. So that's the gold GBM win.
I love the shiny gold background. The crown. This one's really cool.
That's the flex whale right there.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for something to do, not financial advice, but this is a 20K bundle. And yeah, if you scroll down, like I've been watching these, like you can kind of see the price comparatively go down as you go to the bottom of the list. So if you're looking for, a lower token bundle, an NFT combination, you can find whatever your price point is.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is the UI. If you scrolled up a little bit there, Rachel, I can. So yeah, the funds raised obviously fairly self-explanatory. The box on the bottom left there, total bidder rewards. That's the amount earned by all the bidders so far for helping in price discovery.
Wow, beautiful.
Which is pretty cool. FDV is the fully diluted valuation of where we are in the bidding patterns right now of the token and the protocol. Wave 2 is now we are in wave 2, and those two numbers are where we are right now and what the bidding of the funds raised our goal for this wave is. Wave 1 was 250, and we passed that, as I say, like a couple of hours ago. So sort of day 1, wave 1 complete, which was great. And obviously total bids is the number of bids placed so far in the IDA. Then you've obviously got your filters, and then what you showed is obviously all the different kinds of bundles. And if you just clicked bid now on one of the bundles,
yep.
Let's see. The bid now button, the blue one, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think on mobile, I was able to I might have been able to open this up in bid in an more open window, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, this was it.
Yeah, exactly. So here you'll see, obviously, each bundle is a unique NFT with all of its own traits. And then also that NFT granting you the claim to the underlying fungible asset that it represents, in this case, 50,000 GBM tokens. And then this bidding interface is quite fun. So if Rachel typed in, say, 300 or something, the current minimum bid on this is 220 USDC. But if she increased the bid to 300, when she gets outbid, she's making 5% net. She'll make $15. She'll get her bid back and $15 immediately when she's outbid. But if she doubled the previous bid, so if she pressed the 2x bid button.
Wait.
Oh yeah, so yeah, go back. The other one,
bid
now button. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you'll see the 2x current bid 10% reward button. So press that.
All right, so let's put 300 in again. 2x.
Yeah, and then press that. So now it immediately doubles the current standing bid in one click. So you can,
that's cool. I didn't realize that was a feature.
Yeah,
that's really
so
cool.
That sort of allows you in fewer clicks to go for the maximum return on that bundle.
Wow.
Which makes life a little easier than having to do the math yourself. But that's really the mechanism, and you see up front how much you would make if you were outbid, and that's how GBM works and sort of the main interface of the IDA. But if you come out of this modal and just click on chart view, this is a bit more, I guess, for the power users.
Let's see. Okay, where can I find the chart view?
Just above reset, you see list view and chart view.
Oh, yep.
There you go. Yeah. So here you see all the different bundle sizes. So 5K bundles all the way through to the 5 million bundle, and you can see the number of these bundle sizes on auction at any one time. You can see the price range from the cheapest to the most expensive bundle in that category. And when you click on any one of the charts, you get immediately taken through to the cheapest bundle of that category. So you can, instead of having to search through them all manually or look at the NFTs or whatever, if you're just interested in getting the cheapest bundle for that category, you just click the corresponding bar chart and you go straight through to that bundle to bid on. And yeah, that's sort of the main interface. There's a couple of other fun things, which is that obviously my activity, you can see what you've been outbid on and what you're winning. If you go to referrals, you can see your.
I think this is actually showing my bids here. No one go and outbid me.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So 570. Yeah, looks like I'm winning 1 out of 4 that I bid on. So that's exciting.
And then in referrals, you can see your referral code, which you can share with people, and people can use each other's referral codes, and they get extra earnings. So if someone bids with your referral code, you get 5% of their outbid rewards at the end of the auction. And if you use somebody else's referral code, you get an extra $1 basically for every $100 that you spend in the auction. And then the information tab is where you can learn a lot more about GBM. You can learn about us, what we've been building, why we've been building it, how the token will work, and all the rest of it. And if you wanted to really go deep on GBM, you would go to docs.gbm.auction, which is basically our online white paper.
And look at here, you guys. There's a little snippet of Brian Armstrong, who has also bid on GBM auctions previously.
Yeah, him and Jesse have both bid in Song of Dayman's auctions. He did a really cool, I think, bass summer song ages ago, and they both bid in it. And Jonathan at Song of Dayman has been using GBM for years now. So
that's incredible. Well, I want to give Dees a chance. If you have any comments or questions, Dees, before we move forward here.
Yeah, I love the interface. Very, very clean. And so the rewards settle out of each individual bid, or is it from the pot at the end?
It's happening in real time from each individual bid. The only thing coming out of the pot at the end is the referral fees. So the referral stuff that you've earned is settled at the end, but all of the real-time incentives and fully funded bidding is happening in real time.
So great, so great. And in your experience with all these auctions, what is the standard, or what's the most popular, I guess, amount of offering out of the total supply that protocols are offering in the auction?
This is only the second one we've ever done. The first one was with our friends at Amua, and both chose to do 10% across the wholesale. The difference with ours and the Amua one, which was a learning that we'd learned, again, honing the product, was that ours comes out in waves, so that the amount of tokens match the amount of demand as a little bit more closely than just putting all on at once and seeing where we get to. And we think for future IDAs, the wave formation is probably a better way to go than putting everything all out at once for your total distribution.
Yeah, so fascinating. So with this protocol, when new projects want to come in and do these raises, how white glove is it at the beginning? Are they interacting with your team and setting everything up, or is there a dashboard that they create?
Yeah. So for now, it is all white glove. It's we want to work with this system. We'll work with you. We'll basically rebuild this site for you with all of your assets and host it for you, and we'll consult with you on what you think the best distribution is based on these numbers. We have a lot of algos that help with those distribution mechanics. But eventually, the plan is to bring all of this into a more accessible world, which is going to be part of the protocol. But this part is more sort of stage 2 of the protocol. Stage 1 is to get first our NFT auction house system out there, which anybody can deploy their own auction houses. And then phase 2 would be to make the IDA system less white glove and more open. And then I guess sort of phase 3 is then the ability to combine all auctions that are happening on the protocol at any one time into a single unified UI, where anybody can come and basically earn by being a professional price discoverer, or are there to just see what assets are coming on sale at any one time and using it for discovery of assets, as well as an opportunity for yield and acquisition.
How fun. Well, yeah, I hope if this really takes off, this will become one of the best data sets that the whole industry can use as far as designing token economies and observing, price action, price behavior, distribution models. It's so modular, and that's why auctions are just so elegant, because they're so modular, and it takes a certain team to have the dedication to want to pull those levers, versus a bond curve system where we can probably paint the same chart for 1,000 different tokens. But here there's so many different levers and variables, and just as someone, who's pretty obsessed with tokenomics, I can't wait to see the data come in over time, and then have that to advise and look at new projects that are trying to build their own value accrual economies and whatever they're trying to accomplish.
Definitely.
Yeah, I really think that GBM has been trailblazing in that sense, and we have a lot of people in the comments today. I want to shout out everybody who is tuned in. We have a full house of people tuned in for the live stream today. Just want to shout out Pixel, Owl, Cryptomorse, Callie. We have a lot of folks, Gougy, tuning in today. All of our friends and supporters. Super grateful for everyone that shows up week after week. Hugo, I do have, I have one person saying congratulations. Cryptomorse says congratulations for the very fast wave 1. And then I do have a question from Just onchain, who is asking if he can auction his novel on the IDA, and he's thinking of use cases.
Reach out, 100%. We're interested in talking to anyone that wants to do interesting things with auctions. That's our jam. So yeah, reach out to Jake or DM us on Twitter or X.
I'll connect you guys. I'll connect you guys.
Those are my favorite comments. Please keep more of those coming. We need curiosity to come back into crypto, and that forms conviction. So that warms my heart. Yeah, more of those.
We have over 1,000 people here with us today. Like, the markets are at where they're at, but you can see that there are people who are genuinely excited, who are curious, who want to learn more. So if you're watching, if you're one of the over 1,000 people tuned in, please drop a comment. If you want to learn anything about GBM, if there's any use cases that you want to see, feel free to drop your questions on the GBM side or the BMX side if you guys are curious. But yeah, just to keep things moving here, Hugo, I think we got through everything as far as the GBM IDA. I am curious, back to the original origin of all of this and why you guys do what you do, the why. What made you realize the usual auction model was broken, and why have you chosen this as something to tackle?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's always at the part of how we think in the team, which I guess is more first principle orientated, is what can you do with smart contract and blockchain technology that you can't do in the TradFi world or the traditional world, or you can't do with a lot of difficulty, let's say. And the beauty of programmable money and smart contracts and being able to send value very quickly at very low cost is you can create a real-time incentivized auction system, right? And so when we realized that it was the technology that enabled the new system. That excited us because we want to come from a place where this is a new system enabled by this new technology layer, rather than trying to fit the technology into something just because it's there. And so it was exciting to us when we, realized that that was an important thing to lean into and work with. And then it was more looking at, well, where have we been frustrated in the past in the crypto space? Where are problems that are difficult to solve? Price discovery has always been one of those things for us. It's always been something that's sort of plagued us in the early NFT days. It's a very difficult thing to figure out and do. Done badly, it can lead to very unfair extractive outcomes. I think we've seen quite a lot of that over the years. And, for us, it was like, well, how do we apply this? Because the GBM system itself is a very horizontal technology. And then it's about, well, where do we apply it and how do we apply it in the verticals that we're looking at? And, NFTs is where it was born, and token sales is now where it's being implemented in a new form. And hopefully there are going to be many more verticals in the future. That is another reason why we do what we do, which is to try and bring more assets and more people on chain. And so one day we hope that, the GBM system will be the primitive that supports people who are tokenizing houses, governments selling off surplus, or spectrum auctions, for example. When they want real economies of scale in a global market that's low cost and very liquid, and they want maximum price discovery and distribution, then do it in stable coins on GBM, right? Using GBM on whatever network you guys are going to operate on. And that is also something that drives us, because we just think that's going to make markets better. And that's, a big part of what we do, why we do what we do, make things better.
I love it. And it's a reminder to me, hearing you talk about use cases with government, like auctions are something that can be used across so many different verticals. I think you've really selected a niche that is so versatile and useful. It's been, I think we talked about, when auctions began, at the beginning of time. It's like, it's been, auctions have been happening for so long. And it's something that I feel like in the on-chain space, it's ripe for opportunity. And I think you guys have really done it correctly. So Deez, I'm not sure if you have any other comments or questions before we move forward here.
My brain's just buzzing. I guess my question is, how do you guys set your roadmap with such a modular technology? Because it seems like, man, you could go to a conference or have a shower thought, and it just seems like this is the best idea, and we have to do this now. How do you guys as a team, stay focused and keep your head down for longer periods of time when there's so many options?
It's a really great question, actually, and is one of the things that we have to contend with quite a lot. I'm also fairly impulsive, right? Like, I'll see a clear problem in a market and I'll be like, guys, let's go. Now, obviously, I don't have in crazy amount of resources to be able to fix every single market inefficiency where GBM could be applied. But I guess we go a lot where we know that we're getting some organic demand. And that we know that, that's a signal of sort of low-hanging fruit somewhere where it can fit initially. And that's why obviously we've been doing so much of what we've been doing in the NFT space, because it's an obvious sort of match made in heaven. The plan for token sales really came about because of, one, annoyance with existing systems, and two, the excitement about just putting something really new out there that we think is going to be really interesting. We're looking at applying GBM to different places as well that are slightly more perhaps institutional and sort of, I guess you could look at how it works in market making auctions and these kinds of things. That's all kind of early stages at the moment, but it is important to stay focused. We never have more than like 2 to 3 things that we are working on at any one time, which is already still too much. But we end up leaning in the things that we know, are gaining more traction than others, which is, don't ignore signal, right? And so we try to abide by that.
I love that. Well, it seems like you guys are very tapped into kind of the collective consciousness, the on-chain consciousness, and what problems need to be solved. And you have the know-how and experience to execute on it and deliver on what you guys set out to do. So I am curious. Okay, just kind of giving some advice. Let's say we have over 1,000 people here today who are watching and want to get started. What are, some of the top things they should know before bidding? Like, what would be some advice to someone new to GBM?
One, I would recommend go and read the information page, read about the white paper, read the white paper, understand.
And where is that, real quick, just so I can pull it up?
So on the IDA page itself, you'll see the information tab. That's already a good start. There's quite a lot of information in the information tab. And then the docs.gbm.auction, which is a Gitbook site, which is a little bit more detail about. If you scroll down there, Rachel, you see the link to white paper. If you scroll down.
Yeah, I thought that would be it, but was gonna.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's it. Yeah. So this is the docs page where you can really kind of find out, what it is, how it works, where the thinking is, what the tokenomics are, what our plans are for, incentives within the protocol, reward seasons, all these things that we've been playing with. So if you wanted to go deep, that's a good place to start. And then when it comes to the IDA itself, I would say take a look at some of the whales. They're pretty cool, and they're each unique, and they each have their own variability and their own quirks. And obviously only bid with what you're comfortable with bidding with, and look for opportunity where there's still gap in the pricing, right? So if you go to the chart view, for example,
just refreshing here.
Refreshed.
Sorry, the internet's been going a little slow for whatever reason.
But yeah, if and when it does load again, in the chart view, you'll see the dark color and the light color, and the closer that the dark color is to the middle of the light color, basically, is showing sort of parity on price within the range. So if there's very little dark blue against the light blue, then you're going to see a lot more room to place bids on that bundle category, with a higher chance of being outbid and thus making that return, or winning those tokens at a bargain price. So that's the way I think about it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of tools here to help you kind of figure out what the sweet spot is for you to get in, based on what you're looking at as your entry point. So and yeah, I have to echo what Deez was saying. The UI, the UX, it's very clean. It's extremely user friendly, and I think our space needs more things like that, where it's just simple, it's easy, it's fun, it's very straightforward. And I think it's just overall, it's a fun time, and like having that social element baked in, where we can all talk about like Dope Oxide, shout out to Dope Oxide. He was in the comments. I was like, yeah, I'm like winning in one of these auctions. And he like shared like a little comment like, yep, not anymore.
Yeah.
So it just kind of creates a fun, social fun to it.
Yeah. One of the best things that I've had since starting the IDA is just when people reach out and send messages in our Discord or whatever, and just said like, this is the most fun they've had on chain in ages or ever. And I think that's important. Like, you need to have fun on chain. It doesn't, it's not just about being stressed or worried or wondering whether your token's are going to end up somewhere else. Like, it needs to be fun. And we think that we've hopefully unlocked a bit of that with GBM.
Absolutely. Well, I'm proud of you guys, and I'm honored to like help build alongside you guys. Yeah, Deez, if you have any questions, I have a couple more I want to go through here and just like kind of tangibly share. I feel like we did our overview, but if anybody has any questions, if you're curious more about the mechanics of the IDA, how to get started, maybe we talk about GBM's roadmap as well. But I want to give Deez a chance. Deez, if you have any questions or anything.
Always curious about the roadmap. If I were at a conference, I'd definitely want to get holed up with you guys somewhere, because I think we'd have the most fun chatting about ideas, for sure. But yeah, without intruding, would love to know what's on your guys' mind and thoughts, and then maybe in ETH Denver I can find you guys and we can BS a little bit more. But yeah, what do you see on the longer horizons?
Yeah, first off, definitely would love to have an IRL sit down and get into the weeds around tokenomics and primitives in crypto. Yeah, I think, the immediate roadmap is IDA. That's obviously, the key thing. And then depending on how that goes, it's then teeing up for our TGE, which is planned for January, February. And alongside the TGE is going to be the launch of version 1 of the protocol. The two key kind of products of version 1 are this thing we call the deployer and the token management dashboard. So the token management dashboard is where you can do all of your staking, your governance, the management that you want to be able to do with your token. And the deployer is this codeless kind of installation wizard, let's say, that you can go to and you can, click through a wizard, and you can, at the end of it, deploy your own bid to earn GBM win-win auction house with primary or secondary sales enabled, or both, custom branded on whichever network we support with whichever currencies we support. And so if you're an individual creator like Rachel and you're creating your own assets and you want to have your own auction house, you want to have your own mini Christie's with our technology, that's what this system will empower, all the way through.
I actually do want to do that. Yeah.
Right. All the way through to if you're a big enterprise and you want this auction tech as part of your secondary market or primary market, you can deploy your own auction house and just link it straight out or integrate it into your existing platform. So that's kind of version 1. And we hope that that'll be used for a whole variety of reasons, used for, sure, traditional NFTs, but also RWAs and other kinds of tokenized assets that are going to be coming on chain. Everyone can just deploy their own auction house. And then step 2 would be to then figure out how we bring this IDA system to that kind of open, accessible deployer type model as well. And then step 3 is the aggregator, as we call it, where we unify all of the auctions once there's plenty of auction supply happening at any one time into a single interface for people to earn and discover assets.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys have everything well thought out. You've moved methodically, strategically, and I'm very bullish on the future of GBM auctions. One thing I want to ask, just to help any folks who are new coming into this, and I don't know, I have this question about what are the biggest mistakes you see bidders make and how can people avoid them? But when I think about that, it's kind of hard because it's no matter what you do, you're going to win and you're going to be incentivized. So even a mistake per se, in the GBM world, you're going to win no matter what.
I guess there's a classic, the fat finger, right? If you're bidding on a 5K token bundle and the price ceiling is a couple $100 or $100, don't add a zero. I mean, you can, if you get outbid, great, but it's probably
you don't need to, yeah.
You don't need to do that. You can just stay within the price range that is sensible for that bundle size. So yeah, avoid the typos. I guess that's the best advice.
Okay. All right. That's good advice. And let's see, going to the live stream chat. If anybody has any questions, I'm seeing comments. I'm seeing a lot of emojis, people excited. Winning gets a prize, losing also gets a prize. This is very exciting from Allwell. Cryptomore says bullish on GBM auction. I just see everybody just excited, happy to be in here. And yeah, shout out to the fam for pulling up today and supporting Let's Ride. Again, if anybody has any questions for Hugo on GBM, on BMX,
I've got another one came to mind. Let's go into secondary liquidity. So as far as listing the NFTs, how do you guys think about that, or how do protocols think about that? Is that in waves? Is there time locks? What have you guys? What's in your guys's toolkit, and as well as thought process in when they go from primary auction into the secondary markets, pre-token liquidity, I should say.
Yeah, so when it comes to primaries and secondaries, I think we have to obviously just separate the assets. So if we're just thinking about an NFT on its own, well, obviously the primary issuance, you can do a launch in any which way you want. A lot of our clients do a lot at one time, or a few at one time, or one on a sort of regular cadence. And then they obviously have secondaries where people can list those assets with their own mini GBM auctions. They can have a minimum price, perhaps. They can implement a cancellation period. So if you're selling it on the secondary and you put it out there with no minimum bid and it gets to say 100, but you want to sell it for 1,000, you can set a cancellation period. So at the end of the auction, after a certain, you have 2 or 3 minutes to say, sorry, actually, it didn't reach the level I wanted it to, and you can pay whatever incentive fees and the platform fee, which is the cancellation fee, because you still got the service of price discovery, but you have that added benefit of canceling it at a moment in time if it didn't reach the value that you wanted as a seller. So there's things like that you can do. And then there's obviously what you're looking, if you're looking at a fungible asset issuance, and obviously in the case of an IDA, we're combining the non-fungible with the fungible into those bundles. But yeah, on the fungible side, I mean, the way the IDA works is the NFT itself is soul bound for a certain period of time, for 12 months, and acts as and then becomes tradable. And as we get TGE and the claim contract comes out, that's when you can log in with the wallet that won all the NFTs in the IDA, and you can claim all of the corresponding GBM tokens to that, which is a nice way to sort of combine it. And then after a while, those NFTs then become their own tradable collection as well. And who knows, maybe there'll be lots of other interesting value adds and utility to those NFTs, because I'm a big believer in a digital deed that an NFT is being much more than just a speculative JPEG. So we shall see.
That's great. Yeah, I'm just imagining the GBM inception. So after the primary, I go and list it for another GBM, and then that guy, is on the third, and then it's just endless auctions and price discovery, and I don't even know who's writing the bots to arb all that out. But it's so exciting. Like I said, I need to get to a conference. I'm I can just imagine a happy hour going way over time on this stuff.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna happen when I connected you guys. I knew it.
We'll nerd out.
I am curious about, okay, on the topic of your roadmap, Hugo, what event? I mean, you're an events guy. You were at the first Ethereum meetup. So what future events are on your roadmap? What conferences can people find you at? Will you be at ETH Denver?
We still are yet to decide which conferences we're gonna be at for the rest of this year and early next year. Just because it's kind of all hands.
Your head's down building. You're in build, full build mode.
I do love conferences. I was at FCC earlier this year, and other team members or other, I had a BD, Cameron, who's great, was at Token 2049, and so we do try to get out there. But when it's grindstone time, it's grindstone time, and then when it's conference time, it's conference time. As much as we can, we get to as many of the ones that we can get to.
Got it. Well, yeah, I could see you and D's just chopping it up about tokenomics for 7 hours. So I look forward to seeing that take up for you guys. But yeah, just kind of last call here. If anybody watching has any questions, comments, anything for Hugo, feel free to drop in our live stream chat. And thank you everyone for showing up and supporting today. It's crazy. We actually have a good amount of viewers today. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I just want to share, Hugo, maybe final calls to action, and maybe you could show one final screen share. Since my internet was a little slow here, you could show the GBM IDA page just to give a final screen share and final calls to action here.
Sure. Let me get my screen up.
And then I think it would be great to share any final resources, links, calls to action. I would say join the Discord too. I feel like the GBM Discord has been a big hub. There's
a lot of stuff happening in the Discord. We play great games. Jake is my right-hand man for the community, and he's brilliant at it, and he's always active.
We love Jake. Jake's the best, you guys.
And it's kind of fun as well because, we've worked with so many different partners over so many years that we've got a lot of really interesting people from different communities, right? We've got people from Gotchi, Sandbox, we've got domainers, we've got, new people who are new to the crypto world, all sort of meshing in the Discord. So it's quite fun. But yeah, one final look at the IDA site. There's been $3,000 more in bidding since we've been chatting, or 5,000 or something, which is great.
Wow.
You've got your bundles, you've got the interface, information page, as I say. There's a great tutorial that Cameron, our head of BD, has done here, which sort of walks you through in much more detail what I've fairly crassly done on this stream. And you can learn a bit more about who we work with and how long we've worked with them and the tokenomics and all the rest of it, which I think is great to look at. But yeah, I would say final call to action is check out ida.gbm.auction. If you're feeling like it, have a little bid, see what it's like. Go look at some of the whales and basically have some fun. And
let's go. And then I also, Hugo, I have a call to action for all of you watching. We are going to be doing a closing party at the end of the IDA we're bringing up Unstoppable Domains. We have Sandbox, a couple of other partners, strategic partners of GBM. I'm very excited for that. I will be hosting alongside the GBM team. So very excited for that. That'll be at the end. And Hugo, can you remind everybody the final day of the auction?
Yeah, so December 1st, it'll be ending at 9 p.m. UTC. And in the last couple of hours, we're going to have a pretty fun live stream party to close it out. Yeah, definitely tune in for that. And
that's some alpha. We haven't announced that, you guys. So there'll be an announcement going out. We'll share a graphic, our speakers, but this is the first time we've shared this. But I think, during the IDA, there's so much buzz, there's so much excitement. We want to go out with a bang and, just celebrate with you all. So that'll be happening at the end of the IDA.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be super exciting. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Same here. Well, we are almost at the hour mark here. So Deez, is there any other questions, thoughts, or any just general housekeeping on your end from the BMX side?
No, just stay tuned. Stay tuned into where we're shipping updates all the time. And check out Delhi Swap, of course. Check out how it's different than other DEXs, the liquidity mechanics. We're obsessed with that. But honestly, just happy to have on builders who are innovating and celebrating shipping and pushing the envelope. I think we need to really, really lift up those who aren't just copy pasting and looking for those really short-term turnarounds. So super happy to have you on today, Hugo, and really love that you've been in the space for this long. You haven't aged a day, which is great. Typically, it is not as kind to us have been in here.
Yeah, than I started with.
I mean, I'm still working on my symphonies over here, so I'm aging backwards. But yeah, no, just wanted to say, thanks for hanging in there and building for so long. And as we hear builders leaving the space and people, trying to get just more curiosity in there. I think the few that are building the lighthouses and still shining strong, that we really need that to inspire the next people to come up, like saying, can I auction my book? What else can I do with this? We just need that next wave of curiosity, and that's going to be our next round of builders. So thank you so much for being part of that cause. Definitely.
Well, thanks for having me, Deez. It's been a real pleasure, and yeah, I can't wait to nerd out at an IRL meetup, and then maybe there'll be something really fun that we can do together when we get closer to our TGE part.
Absolutely. Looking forward.
Absolutely. Well, Hugo, again, thank you so much for your valuable time. I know how busy you guys have been. So we'll definitely be seeing you around on the timeline. You guys, if you're following along, I've been sharing about this IDA just about every single day. I'm sharing different updates. I'm working alongside the team. So definitely stay up to date on the IDA. If you have any questions, feel free to DM myself, GBM, and like Hugo was saying, Jake has been an incredible resource for the community. Reach out to Jake, Fake E Scott, on X if you guys have any questions. I think that's just about everything. Hop in the Discord too if you guys haven't already.
Definitely.
Awesome. All right, Hugo, thank you so much for your time. And you guys, thank you all for riding with us today. Stay based, stay curious, and we'll see you on the next Let's Ride.